Mousesports are one of the only teams that has been able to consistently beat Grace compositions. So I don't think Mousesports really has to be too worried about a Grace going through.
There's very little Mousesports haven't been able to consistently beat, to be honest. Well, Baron is going to be the first ban.
Yeah,
switcher.
typical ban. Baron off, and then Grumpjaw. These are just the typical first phase ban that comes out. And normally, Mousesports on A side, they have first pick Lyra, Arden, and sometimes even Vox. But Arden has been a huge preference. But with Grace and Lyra open, I doubt that will happen. So I think they're probably going to first pick one of the healers here, or maybe just secure Vox right off the bat.
I would say take Vox, because Vox is one of the only picks that is heavily prioritized amongst both of these teams.
Yeah.
They know that the Lance is the priority captain for Rising Lotus, so I think they can be safe in letting one of them through, but they're going to go ahead and take the Grace first.
Yeah, so Grace locking in that super high. I mean, Grace has the highest win rate in the Vainglory 8 so far. Very, very powerful. If you guys haven't had your hands on Grace just yet, it's worth the purchase, in my opinion. When you look at the win rates, Grace is dominant in solo queue. It's dominant in the Vainglory 8 as well. But with that locked in, I'll be curious to see what Rising Lotus go for. We've already had the conversation about Vox. What else is a standout pick here that Rising Lotus could look towards?
Yeah, I think what makes sense is they definitely need to secure the Vox, because Vox is very mobile and very good into Grace. And then you can have either Arden or Lyra open, because if they don't take Vox, it can be banned. And they also have the option of playing Arden with Lyra. So instead, they're going to go with Arden here, which is very interesting pick, because they're giving up the healer. They're not going to have a Lyra versus a Grace here, and they're going to take away I'm the Doom's Kestrel, which is a very strategic ban on Rising Lotus' part.
Samuel taken away as well. So a lot of junglers being taken off the board. 3, in fact, and Vox already locked in. These guys are starting to rattle through the picks.
Yeah, Vox, obviously, as Sujay was mentioning, very strong into Grace because of the extra mobility and the range, can avoid a lot of those Holy Novas. But now Mousesports, I would expect to see them pick up something that has hard engage. Idris, Glaive, both of those two are really, really strong with the protection that comes out from a Grace, and I would not be at all surprised to see those, although typically FL, usually if you can't get the Vox, falls back to a Gwen.
Yeah, you're right. And normally when they get Vox or Gwen, they actually ban Idris. So the Gwen call was perfect, because that's a pattern that they've shown. And Gwen is stronger than Vox in the early game, but late game Vox excels once he gets more items, etc. And then they're going with a Baptiste here. And Baptiste actually a hero that Rising Lotus has banned in the second phase of their draft almost every time. So now they have Baptiste here, and I think Rising Lotus needs to pick a hero such as CP Blackfeather that can play and be able to match the Baptiste here in terms of range and mobility.
I mean, are we comfortable putting Agony on a CP Blackfeather? He's definitely had the most success on Samuel, but that's been taken away. Do we know if Agony can actually play the CP Blackfeather? He has actually locked it in, so he is obviously going to be comfortable on that one going into this. Well, I'm curious to keep my eye on Agony during this game to see how effective he's able to be on the CP Blackfeather.
Yeah, it has the really good poke, as long as you can land the on points. I feel like if you're comfortable on Samuel, you should be comfortable on Blackfeather as well, because it is still that big straight line, that Malice and Verdicts are, as well as on points. So it's really, this one's just going to come down to who lands their poke first and who's able to land it continuously.
Yeah, now looking at the drafts then, looking at the compositions, how are we anticipating these two teams kind of looking at this game and moving forward? What are the win conditions going to be? How do they have to play this one out?
Mousesports definitely has a stronger early game composition. Baptiste, along with Grace, is extremely strong early. However, mid to late game, Blackfeather outscales Baptiste and outpokes him. So Rising Lotus has a chance if they get to late game with Vox and Blackfeather, but I feel like Mousesports is going to take this game because they have Grace. So I'm going to give it there.
Yeah, I mean, Grace Baptiste on its own is a terrifying combo. When you put that in the hands of Mouse as well, I mean, is there a ray of hope here for Rising Lotus?
The ray of hope is going to be specifically outplaying. Both of these compositions are extremely similar in what they're trying to do. It's a lot of poke from your junglers, and then just long, drawn-out fights, sustained damage from your carries, with a bit of protection from and zone control from your captain. So it's almost identical identities within the composition, so it is just purely going to come down to the actual mechanical abilities of the players.
All right, and a lot of that is going to be in the hands of Hell's Devil. He's the guy to watch in this game. We'll see how he can perform on in this one. Get involved on social media, hashtag Vainglory8, and let us know whether you're a Mouse supporter or whether you believe in the Rising Lotus comeback. With that, it's time to head on into our first game and hand it over to Action Jackson and Jaws.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, and thank you very much for your analysis, guys. I cannot wait for this one. Grace is covered up for Just Man, and Mouse looking so dominant as we get into the fold for the first game of this evening.
And man, Mousesports, I'm sure they got a lot to prove in this first game. They just want to take home another win, get to day number 2, and say, yeah, we're gonna go all the way again 3 weeks in a row. On the flip side, though, Rising Lotus, I mean, this is a team that's had kind of an up and down road, not just in this season, but historically, this is a team that has sort of randomly, it feels like, had good performances some weeks and kind of rough weeks other times. And I do think, if any team is the team to beat this season, it's Mousesports. So it's an opportunity for Rising Lotus to show that they've really been working hard on improving their game. Now, looking specifically at the team comps and drafts that we're seeing here, obviously Grace coming out with Batiste that's an insane couple of pickups for Mousesports. They aren't just mechanical gods. They've managed to make the draft work for them as well. On the other side of the fold, we've got this Vox Blackfeather combo that is a lot of damage. They're packing the ability to take people down fairly fast. I think a lot of it's going to be down to Hell's Devil, though, right? Like, Vox is a hero that, yeah, you need a lot of skill to play, but no matter what, it's going to be hard to play that hero if your captain isn't really providing appropriate levels of support for you, especially against something like a Batiste, which has a huge ability to disrupt fights. We got the Tran getting taken down here. Rising Lotus, they don't want this one to go across.
No, they do not. They're both flaring each other out. Just Man has found Agony. That's going to go over, and it's going to go over to I'm the Doom.
Oh,
they
boy.
secure it. That Ordain lands onto Hell's Devils, and this could be first blood. I'm the Doom trying to chase him up, but Just Man just swings his club, picks up the first blood.
We've seen this quite a lot in the past couple of weeks, where teams will contest the Elder Treant at really awkward times when they don't have good vision or good positioning, or a duo that can really appropriately deal with it. I do think Agony might have got both of those, though. Pretty strong stuff. Here comes the fight.
Look at Agony's going really low, though. That Ordain's going to come through. Nice Holy Nova. They're actually going to trade 1-for-1. Just Man picking up his second kill. Hell's Devils couldn't be much more of assistance after that Vanguard was used, but Just Man coming up big already. 80% win rate on this Grace. It's looking strong so far.
Yeah, maybe they'll just swap the Grace into more of a damage position. I mean, Batiste can go captain, right? Why not? But
Swap it. Why not?
I think there maybe a little bit of overextension for I'm the Doom and the other Mousesports members. I think they were trying very hard to snowball their lead, which, you want to do when you can, but against the Blackfeather with 3 crystal bits, he actually does pretty respectable damage early on. And also, Arden does better damage than you might anticipate early. So they went a little bit too deep for my liking.
Oh, Hell's Devils
boy.
just caught up again. Holy Nova into the Ordained. The combo was like it was made for each other, AJ. Hell's Devils is going to be able to run away. Apfel can't really chase him up, but a bad mojo will finish the kill. I am the Doom. Striking another one on the board for his team. 3-1 thus far. Agony trying to make a swift exit, but Just Man is going to come through with another Holy Nova. Here's I'm the Doom. That Ordains off cooldown. There it is. Agony in a lot of trouble. Trapped between 2 members of Mouse. Pops those boots. Vanguard here for Hell's Devils to keep him safe, and he dashes towards the tree and to get away. Mouse just seemed to be in firm control right now of Rising Lotus's jungle.
Yeah, that was a really nice invade. They did find a lot of damage onto Agony, but Blackfeather is quite slippery even before he gets his ultimate. You got the slow as well as a dash that you can do if you're in the jungle onto things like the back Treant. So that does enable him to be a little bit more difficult to take down. Mousesports are starting to push the tempo quite hard here, and part of the reason they're able to do that is that they were able to shop a little bit earlier there. They are able to transition from Batiste just having a couple of crystal bits to actually having a heavy prism. That does give them the ability to fight a little bit more easily. Also, Apfel's now got attention bow. Something else we gotta mention, at 4 minutes, that's pretty early. He's farming effectively, and as a result, if Mousesports want to go for some skirmishes, they're actually in great position to do that.
I mean, that tension bow, we kind of talk about it all the time, but building into the poison shiv you can imagine he's going to next. It's going to be a massive problem here for this Vox in the lane. He's got his poison shiv already, but that burst damage from the Gwen is just so hard to deal with. And with Justman, yes, he's the captain, but he's still got 2 kills in the fountain. It's super hard for him to deal with anything. We have Hell's Devils rotating towards the lane now, but so is I'm the Doom. This combo is just disgusting on paper, and it's already working out for them thus far.
It's really hard to play a team fight around a Baptiste and a Grace with the amount of CC they have. Agony.
Oh, hang on a second there. Another kill does go over to I'm the Doom. Agony just caught out time and time again, it seems.
Yeah, it's tough though. I mean, he's got to try and compete for his farm. But, you know, if you get caught out, it's going to be a rough situation. I was beginning to mention this before that fight broke out. Grace has the Holy Nova, and Baptiste has the Ordained, and both of those are great at really messing up your ability to run away.
Oh, Hell's Devils caught up in another Ordained. A bad Mojo's going to follow that fell.
Oh!
He's going to pop the Skedaddle, and he's going to find the last shot. Another point on the board for Mouse. We have 5-1, 5 minutes into the game here, AJ, and Mouse have just been so dominating. And what could you really expect from them? They're at the top of the leaderboard right now, looking absolutely on fire. Agony in a lot of trouble. Is another Holy Nova mixed with an Ordained, a fearsome shade to follow it through. Fel picks up his second kill of the game. All 2-2-2 now. My goodness, this is looking quite dire for Rising Lotus, and we're already 5 minutes in.
Maybe you pick up first item Aegis and second item Reflex Block just so you got 2. And
yeah.
Honestly, right, like there's so much crowd control on the side of Mousesports. If one person gets chained on, it's hard for them to do anything, although Baptiste.
Uh-oh, Baptiste is going to use that Ordained, isn't going to be able to find one. Hell's Devils does get caught up on it. I'm the Doom just managed to escape with his life, but Atfel overstepping just a tiny bit, does get punished quite heavily. And is still getting another kill on the board for Rising Lotus is extremely important to them, but they need to make something else work here. Getting a little damage down to that turret wouldn't be such a bad thing either, but they're going to have to rotate, maybe go for that gold miner, or at least a little bit of vision here in the Mousesports jungle.
That was actually a very big misplay from Mouse, although Agony is looking to even things up on the misplay count, going quite deep here. Justman might be able to catch up.
Might just be able to. He's chasing him up here. Agony is fairly low, but he is level 6, so has got that Rose offensive when it does come on cooldown. He's going to be nice and safe for the moment, but with that power spike hitting for Atfel as well, he's got a lot of components in his inventory. There comes the Ordain once more, does stun up the Vox. He's going to be able to get away rather handily, but Atfel still returning a lot of that damage. Same with either Doom. The amount of pressure in the lane now for Mouse is just hell on earth for Rising Lotus to deal with.
It really is. As I was mentioning before, though, you've got to be careful about overextending, although Hell's Devil needs to take that those words of wisdom as well. I think that the thing that you got to realize is as soon as a fight starts to go badly for Mousesports, if Marcellus is not on the back foot already, you're going to get chased down and taken out because Vox can just keep on going very easily with Sonic Zoom. He's got a lot of damage over the course of a fight with the ramp up. And the ability to just, you know, keep pressure on with the Poison Shiv. So Mousesports, they need to fight around their cooldowns appropriately. And in that fight, they didn't. You know, Ordained and Holy Nova both have relatively long cooldowns. Sure, you know, Baptiste can spam other things, but... Oh.
No, Hell's Devil's taking a lot of bad mojos. He does step away from that fight. The Aces High actually was sent out from Atfel, but it did go a little bit wide. Marcellus was able to sidestep it quite handily on this box. But the burst damage is really there. I mean, Gwen, 100% burst damage, and then I'm the Doom as well. If he lands an Ordain into a bad mojo, followed by Holy Nova, just anything, all of the above and more, is very hard for anybody from Rising Lotus to get away from it. Even Hell's Devils is obviously building more tanky in this situation. Has got his Fountains finished, so it's going to be a little something. Ooh. Marcellus getting that Vanguard, but still, Hell's Devils taking a fair bit of trading damage on the back of that one.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we've got to note here, though, is that, you know, you're making a big point about it being 5 kills around 5 minutes. Well, now it's 6 by 9. Things have slowed down a lot for Mousesports, and that's actually a very bad sign for them. They've certainly got plenty of ability to do things later into the game, but they've got to be careful. Here comes the fight.
Well, they do find one already. Hell's Devils ends up biting the dust. That turret is also going to bite the floor. Mouse now looking to take control of Rising Lotus's jungle. They're going to do so quite handily. Agony has just not had a way into this game.
Yeah, that was the play Mousesports needed to avoid where I was going with that point that I was making previously, right? Basically, if it gets too late, Agony and Vox are going to be very strong. Agony's got to get out of there.
Immense gold
Oh, man. Oh, man. Following that auto attack along, and Apfel, you know, gives him a little love tap and just makes sure he knows his place. And now I'm the Doom, just clearing up some of their fronts as well. Yeah, like I said, not had a way into this game whatsoever, but this Crystal Blackfeather will start punishing mispositioning Mousesports later on. We'll just have to see if they can get to that later on.
Absolutely. I mean, Crystal Blackfeather, if you're too far towards that team, he's going to chunk you down with an on-point, and you're going to be slowed. That means if Rising Lotus wants to engage, they can do so much more easily. I think it is big, again, though, to realize that Mousesports are in a position where they need to be continuing to apply pressure, because Gwen, for example, although, you know, decent as any weapon carry is in the late game, is not quite, you know, a Vox, and Agony does something a little similar to Baptiste, a little less team-oriented. You know, there's less crowd control on the Blackfeather's kit, but he has more selfish power. Here we
There
go
comes the Gauntlet. That's a two-man stun on Mouse. I'm the Doom trapped in there with 3 members of Rising Lotus. On point, doing a fair bit of damage to Atfo. He's going to use that buckshot to slow everybody down. Just Man's going to get chased. He's trying to distract a little bit. Nice knock-up. Hell's Devils did plot the reflex block, however. Agony still trying to chase him. Fountain comes out for the heal. Nice aces high over the wall is going to stun him up, but that's still going to be another kill. Agony following that one up pretty solid. Hell's Devils really making the plays, though.
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, when Baptiste does not have Fearsome Shade, it's really difficult, actually, for a disengage to come through effectively by Mousesports, right? Like, Grace has Holy Nova, that might work. Apfel can sort of, again, we're talking about selfish power, you know, power that's just on the one hero. Skedaddle is great for disengaging yourself from a fight. But Baptiste, without Fearsome Shade, is really going to be in a dicey position without, you know, Holy Nova backing him up. That is not... He's a squishy hero, right? Like, he's built Clockwork Shatterglass. If he gets stunned, it's pretty much all over. If he gets a Poison Shiv effect on him, his sustain, which is, you know, intrinsic and very important to the Baptiste kit, is not going to be very effective either. This is what I meant. You know, you need to be the ones making the plays. If you're on the back foot, things don't go well for you if you're Mousesports.
Exactly what they're doing. Ordain is going to stun up Hell's Devils. Isn't going to use that fountain quick enough. He ends up going down. That will be 8-4 now. We are 12 minutes into that game, and with that turret being down, Rising Lotus are trying to get back into it, but Agony, that was very close, uses that Rose Offensive to get away. Got a mobility on the side of Rising Lotus, and that's going to have to be their grace, if you will, to come back into this game. Oh,
So much damage.
that is stupid amounts of damage. Does block the B ability there from I'm the Doom, but back off nice and safely. Every time they step up, they get chunked for half HP. It's absolutely disgusting. But Mouse having firm control now of Rising Lotus and just dictating the pace of the game, which is exactly what you alluded to, exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, it's what they need to be doing, and also they pressured at a good time there. Hell's Devil had burned Fountain trying to keep himself alive. It didn't work out. Now the Gold Miner, though, could be a target.
Oasis High does land onto Merciless. He just falls instantly. Gold Miner goes over to Mouse as well. Agony is going to receive that Vanguard from Hell's Devils, who also has to make an exit out of the fight. Time Mouse step up. They at least blow one cooldown of a pair of boots, if anything else. I mean, that's going to be something big as well to kind of keep your eye on. If the Hell's Devils, every time he wants to go for an engagement, has to pop the boots to get away if his team can't follow up. And Mouse, they secure a Gold Miner. They're at 4,000 gold lead as well. Right, Lotus trying to defend this turret. Ordain is going to come out, is going to stun Hell's Devils.
They can chase here
Very
potentially.
low.
They have Gauntlet. Merciless is here as well.
Yeah, you aren't wrong, but that's going to get blocked up straight away. Crucible popped from Just Man, and I'm the Doom's going to escape and jauntily walk.
They needed to fire the trigger a little quicker there. Agony actually gave up some of his forward positioning, thinking that they were not going to go for the engage. So you can see Rising Lotus maybe not communicating as effectively as they need to be decisive in some of these fights. Now, we've got a 90-second Gauntlet cooldown. Kraken's up pretty soon. You know, this is an opportunity for Mouse to really cement their stranglehold on the map. I'd like to see some good vision coming out from Just Man. He does have some flares, no real scout traps just yet. Without Gauntlet, by the way, really hard for Rising Lotus to fight. We might see a situation where they have to if they are not careful, though. Moving up this far on the map without vision and Mousesports being so far ahead is a very dangerous proposition, but they do manage to get to the jungle shop. That gives them the vision they were looking for.
Themselves as and Mouse just now pressuring Rising Lotus, just constantly shoving this wave in is quite important. And like you mentioned, and like you alluded to, Mouse Devil, he's got this gauntlet, and that's their main engaged tool. Otherwise, Mouse can just disengage fairly easily. I mean, yes, Agony can chase up, but the problem is Mouse have so much burst damage, it's easy to target. That Crucible is going to be up 99% of the time for Just Man for that Crucible usage. So Hell's Devil really has to just make sure he isolates one target, or they blow that Crucible up for them to even have a realistic fight. And the problem is, I'm the Doom and Apfel, they both have their own reflex blocks as well. So that massive engage tool that Hell's Devil does have is going to be thwarted 99% of the time. Just Man trying to go in here. Only never doesn't land. Ordain does though. Here comes the massive stun, and the Gauntlet is going to get blocked once more. Double disengage here. Mouse and Rising Lotus don't really want anything more to do with each other. Fair bit of damage in that trade, so wanted to back off rather sharp.
That was really a nice play by Mousesports. They burned a lot of engagement tools from the side of Rising Lotus, and the only real disengage tool or big team fight ult that they used is Fearsome Shade, which at this point, you know, through having a clockwork, is not a particularly long cooldown. It's also, you know, 2 levels into it. That reduces the cooldown a decent amount. Hell's Devil, why are you running that way?
I don't know, man. He's just gonna dip straight on back. Merciless. Chase Apfel out as well. I'm the Doom and Just Man were there to nice passage of safety. Now Mousesports still piling on this pressure. 5 seconds, you can see that little ping coming out from Hell's Devil. That gauntlet is available in 50 seconds exactly. Kraken's on the board though. They force the fight now for Mouse. I mean, if they at least take 1 or 2 members off the board for Rising Lotus, it's going to be very hard for them to go for this steal.
It is, and you know, Rising Lotus, they want to pressure Mouse a little bit here to try and buy some more space, but they're not really finding opportunities to do so. They need for, you know, this game to go longer. Mousesports, they're I'm kind of intrigued by the way they're playing it. They have missed their window of maximum efficacy, I would say. Like, earlier in the game is when the Grace and the Baptiste do the most burst damage and can just exit someone out of a fight quite quickly. But at the same time, they are still 5,000 gold ahead. They do still have the edge. I feel like they could be pressuring Rising Lotus more, but they're being a little bit too cautious, and that could bite them in the butt, as they've just, you know, they've given Hell's Devil plenty of time to get that cooldown back, for example. They're giving plenty of time for more farm to get Mercillies and more items. Rising Lotus have avenues back into the game the longer this goes.
Mercillies is only going to get stronger as well on this VOD. I want to look for a little engage here. It doesn't look like they found Agony, Vanguard from Hell's Devil. Mouse, they're still fighting back. That Kraken has been started at. They'll gave it a quick love tap. Sure he quite meant to do that and pick up infusions. In fact, infusions across the board. The only one who hasn't got it is Hell's Devil. And now Mouse again take priority control over this lane. And let's look at Mr. Elise here. What can he really do in these team fights? Because we got Apfel and I'm the Doom. The amount of burst damage they do have, it's very hard for him to kind of step up and do that consistent damage that Fox is kind of known for and needs well in these fights. They really have to just vote for this long exchange, but Mouse, again, looking for this massive fight. There comes the Gauntlet. Nice knock up as well from Just Man. He's trapped inside it, but he doesn't really seem to matter whatsoever. Mercillies on the sideline does go fairly low. That Crucible is going to get popped.
Oh,
get on to 3 people, though. Mercillies still alive to the very end. Ends up going down. Hell's Devils will fall as well. Agony using that Rose offensive to get away. Behind the Doom, chasing him. Would he find a bad mojo? He finds the Ordain. Agony just gets out alive. Apfel just sprinting after him. Hell's Devil with a beautiful engage, but Mouse once again just taking them off the board.
That was kind of a heartbreaking fight for Rising Lotus. I think they probably would have been able to take it had Mercillies not gotten stunned on the sidelines. He popped his reflex block, but it wasn't quite at the right time. So not only did he get stunned, he used that. Then when the fear came out from Baptiste, he did not have reflex block. Agony, he's looking for a Kraken steal. I don't see this one happening.
Apfel's going to chase him off. Buckshot for the reveal. Oh, Aces High actually does land. Kraken is going to go over to Mouse. Agony can't quite find the on point. Apo's going to chase him down, though. Vanguard to make sure he stays just out of combat for the moment. That Kraken, though, coming up for Mouse. Looking a very, very clean game for them right now. There's not really much they've done wrong. They've given up 4 kills, yes, but not many mispositions? No, they haven't mispositioned a lot, AJ. In these team fights. It's just been more Agony capitalizing on the fact that Mouse don't really have this massive frontline tank without Just Man locking him up.
Yeah, positioning has honestly not been too much of a problem for either team, with the exception of Mercilli's getting burst by the gold mine earlier. The bigger problem is, making sure you have your reflex blocks for the right abilities. Fearsome Shade is a massive one that you need to be dealing with. Here comes Engage, though.
Right, you can go for something underneath the turret, but they're going to let that Kraken finish it off first. Nice gauntlet. That Crucible being blown a little bit early. Triple silence as well. Aces High is going to hit Hell's Devil. Fountain going to heal him up, and now Agony and Mercilli's trying to deal with that Kraken as they chase down the captain of Rising Lotus. That Kraken on about half HP. Just Man wants to look for a little something here. Holy Nova onto 1. There goes a bad mojo as well to send Agony packing. Kraken still knocking on the base doors. This could be game over. This could be game 1 going over to Mouse. But they just don't want to give up just yet. Rising Lotus find himself on a 2-man Holy Nova. And now they only need 1 more kill to just finally finish off that Kraken. They end up finding him. They end up getting the ace. That Kraken isn't quite ready to end the game. And Rising Lotus, they're still in this, but by a hair.
One thing we haven't had the opportunity to talk about, because so much of this game has been team fighting, is the itemization choices on the side of Mousesports. I really like the fact that we're seeing basically 2 defensive items out of every single member. The reason being that if you are a team that does not scale quite as effectively as your opponents, when you hit that awkward phase of the game where Rising Lotus have less gold than you, but kind of deal the same damage just because they spend their money better, it can be really nice to say, all right, we're going to buy more defense. As a result, we'll still deal more damage than you because you were behind up until this point. You've had to only buy offense, right? That means that we're dealing roughly the same damage. If we keep outplaying you, we're going to win a lot of these fights. And that has been happening with Mousesports in a lot of these. But now with that Kraken falling, yes, there's things like backdoor attempts available, but that was a sort of big gold swing. Now Rising Lotus have a lot more money to work with than they did before. And as I said, they spend it better. This defensive itemization strategy from Mouse only gets them so far. At some point, they're still just going to get out damaged because Rising Lotus, they're starting to pick up their defensive items, like Mercilli's going for an Aegis now, and also a Metal Jacket.
I think you're absolutely correct. I mean, if they don't manage to stack up this defense, are just going to get out DPS because Mercilli's not quite at that point where he can just deal with them. I think in a 1v1, he is more that sustained damage, right? And they've got to live through that initial burst. Av's now looking for maybe a way in. That Kraken has respawned. Agony packing quite a bit of a punch as well. Is going for almost triple defensive items, it does seem. Bane is going to land, it's going to stun out Agony. Look at that burst damage! Fearsome Shade is going to come out, he is going to survive it. There comes the Crucible, the Gauntlet's going to get laid down as well. Only 1 stun up, now Apple is chasing Mercilli's. He's out the fight, he's on the sidelines. Hell's Devil falls. And Rising Lotus, they are on their last limb here. Just Man is going to chase Mercilli's down by this Crystal Sentry. He isn't going to help you, buddy. There's going to be a kill in the base as well. And I'm the Doom just looking for the finish, ignoring the minions. Bad mojoing the Crystal. And that will be game number 1 going over to Mousesports.
Yeah, the point about defense is somewhat muddied when you see a Grace in the game, because her burst heals just ruin your opportunity to come back into a fight if you're not in the right spot. I'm the Doom, gonna finish up the Vein Crystal. Rising Lotus, I think they had moments in that game for sure, but Mousesports looked very convincing here, Jaws. Very strong play from them.
I mean, who'd have thought it, really? Who'd have thought that Grace is actually really good? An 80% win rate, it just keeps on climbing. Now it's on Rising Lotus to go back to the draft phase and say, hey, is that a problem? Do we need to ban away the Grace here? Or what kind of needs to change for us? Because they didn't look so weak that you thought, they're just going to get run over. But Mousesports do take the first win. We'll see what they can do in game number 2. Over to our